Hello world, DevHooks here, back again with another video which cover how to set up Tailwind CSS in a React.js projects, then we'll create a login page with this awesome CSS utility. Let's go. First of all, what is Tailwind CSS? Well, Tailwind CSS is a utility-based low-level CSS framework intended to ease building high customizable web application with awesome interfaces. This is the official documentation of Tailwind CSS, you will find the link in description of this video. So, to set up our project, we'll scaffold a new React application using Create React App. If you have already done this, skip this process. Then we'll move inside the project folder. Next we install a few development dependencies, Tailwind CSS and postcss-cli. Now we need to initialize Tailwind CSS by creating the default configurations. This command creates a Tailwind.js file in your project space directory. The file contains the configurations such as our colors, themes, media queries, and so on. It's a useful file that helps with predefined sets of properties which will aid the need to rebrand certain conventions or properties. Now, why PostCSS and how to configure it? Well, PostCSS is a tool for transforming styles with JS plugins. These plugins can lint your CSS, support variables and mixins, transpile future CSS syntax and more. To achieve that we need to create a PostCSS configuration file in your base directory manually or using this command. Because PostCSS is necessary to lint our CSS, we fetched the Tailwind CSS package and placed it in a variable. Then we wrap Tailwind.js, which is our default base configurations, in our Tailwind CSS variable. Now we are getting to the important point, that's how to inject Tailwind's components, utilities, and base style to your app. Well, inside your source folder, create a folder, name it assets. This is where all your styles would store. In that folder create a Tailwind.css file and main.css file. The Tailwind.css file will be used by us to import Tailwind CSS styles, and for custom configurations and rules. The main.css will hold the styles that are generated as a result of what we have in the Tailwind CSS file. Next, we need to import the base styles and configurations. Note that we used the @Tailwind directive to inject Tailwind's base, components, and utilities styles into our CSS. Now, to be able to use these utilities we have to build our CSS style each time we run npm start. Open your package.json file and add a custom script to tell PostCSS to build for us the CSS styles, from Tailwind.css file to main.css. Next we need to import our CSS file that contains the generated result into index.js. For now, the configurations and setup is done. Now let's build our sign-in page. However, it's a simple React component, contains a form title, email, password fields, and a submit button. But first let's verify that our CSS style imported correctly by insert a code example from official documentation. Now, we are ready to go. For that let's create a sign-in component inside a components folder. You have to be familiar with React to know how to create a such component. Then we add a div tag element with some padding. Inside this block we have title, sign into your account with a few classes utilities like text center, to centralize the title, text 3XL, to define the title size which is a XXL format, leading 9, to control the line height of title. Also we use extra bold font and gray as text color with darkness of 800. We do the same for the subtitle element. If we compile this code, we'll see the elements appeared as expected. Let's move to form, begin with email field, so the email's label and input must be centralized on the page. For that we use flex and justify center utilities to display these elements on the center. If you would understand each class utility we added here, you can search on it in the search box of official documentation. The link is down below in description. Let's compile our code again to see the changes. As you see, the email field has been added to the page. Move on now to add the password field, is pretty much the same as email, we change just the label, input type, and placeholder. As you see here, the password field also has been added. This login form need a submit button. Let's add it with a few CSS class utilities. Well, this is a simple sign-in page that's take advantage of Tailwind CSS. Finally, the supporting repo for this tutorial is available on GitHub. You will find the link in description of this video. Let your creativity flow, and please do share your projects in the comments section below. I'd like to see what you come up with. Thanks for watching, see you next time, happy coding.